Hey guys, and welcome back to Create Above and Beyond. So we started off last episode by buffing up our sand generation here, and the clay byproduct is being sent into the Chapter 1 automations for kinetic mechanisms, while the sand is being sent via minecart all the way along this track. I did switch out also the oak wood that used to be here with andesite casing. I'm still not sure which one I like better, but we'll leave it like this for a little while just to see how it looks. But yeah, the sand is then unloaded and put into these mechanical crafters for TNT. And the TNT comes out the back there and into the singularity production machine. So I've pretty much completely rebuilt this between episodes, and I think I've got it to a configuration that works. Although during testing I ended up with way too many of these things and they don't stack, so... If we take a little look at our quest book for chapter 3, we have the sand, the TNT, the singularities, and the Quantum Entangled Singularities. The next step is to combine that with the red dye, which is being buffered right here on this depot. And both these items have to go through the basin and be mechanical pressed into chromatic singularities. So I have already started setting this thing up, and since we get 2 singularities per recipe, I thought it'd be a good idea to have 2 different basins here, and we'll just round robin the inputs. So the first input, the rose dye, we're getting from this mechanical arm, which will round robin between the 2 basins. And then the singularities, we will have a weighted ejector, which will eject the items onto this depot, where the second mechanical arm will round robin the second input. That will then be pressed and then put on the belt as output. And I think once we get rid of some of this backlog, I'll move this weighted ejector back a block, and that will save having to buffer these items that don't stack. We can just instantly send them to the presses and then process them to the next step. But for now we can test this out by putting some of these items on the weighted ejector, which will get picked up by the arm. Man, these arms are so cool. I'm just looking for an excuse to use them everywhere. But yeah, we're powering them from our main power line here, which is coming from our flywheels. You can put some andesite casing here just to cover up the shafts here. So now we have to figure out what we're going to do with these chromatic singularities. We can send them through the crushing wheel and we get a percentage chance at some of these paintballs. And then these paintballs we have to drain out, I think. Yeah. So it starts off at red, which we have the highest percentage chance at, and we drain this for yellow, drain yellow for green, drain green for blue, and then drain blue for magenta, and then the magenta is what we want to craft for Chromatic Compound. Alright, we got everything powered, and we're getting paintballs. Lots and lots of them. I think we actually get multiple outputs per singularity. But yeah, now we have to send all these paintballs through all of the item drains, and I have no clue how we're going to go about doing that, so let me see if I can work something out here. Alright everyone, so we're going to talk about that little nether fail in a second, but let me show you what we're doing with these paintballs exactly. So this setup looks quite complicated, but actually it's quite simple, so let's start from the top. So all these presses are exactly the same. We have the singularities going onto the weighted ejector, onto the depot, processed down in the mechanical arm and crushed into paintballs. However, now they are distributed by these smart chutes, and we have them filtered for each type of paintball. So we have these in order. We are most likely to get red, then yellow, then green, then blue. And it's the exact same here, red, yellow, green, blue. And the middle one here is the purple, which is ultimately what we're after. So this system at the start here splits them into the different colours. So they each have their own belt here. So starting with red, that has to be item drained 4 times. Red to yellow, yellow to green, green to blue, then blue to purple. Green gets drained twice, and then blue gets drained once, and they will all end up with the purple paintballs here. And this on the other side is exactly the same, it's just more processing speed. and for symmetry reasons. But then the purple is just sent onto this weighted ejector where it gets put onto this belt, and then all the purple paintballs will end up in these chutes here, and these drop down into two belts pointing into each other, where they are then separated by this brass tunnel which puts it on the ejectors next to them, and then inserted into mechanical crafters here. And the mechanical crafters will ultimately give us Chromatic Compound. Aha, so for now we're just putting these on depots. I'm not sure yet how we're going to handle the next step. But you might be able to see underneath here we have some other machinery. And that is because each time you drain these, it actually gives you, I don't know if it's the same, yeah, it looks like it is always the same amount, 250 millibuckets of chromatic waste. And this is just that, right? There's no other use for this other than just to void it. So all the drains are connected to item pipes, and then those are pumped out into a nullifier, which just destroys the fluid. It'd be cool if it did actually have a use, but yeah, we need to deal with it still, so we're just pumping it all out via the pipes and then into the nullifier. But yeah, this is a pretty crazy looking contraption here, right? I quite like the way it turned out, to be honest. Oh, and one more thing we have here is a weighted ejector on the end. And this just goes all the way back to this chute here, just in case this system gets backed up. Then the paintballs will basically loop around and return back to the start of the belt. And in fact, I added a similar thing here on our flywheel setup. We have a weighted ejector just there, which is for the charcoal. I sometimes noticed that the charcoal ended up at the end of this belt and clogged it up. So having the weighted ejector to send it back to the start of the belt means that the belt can keep moving and the funnels never stop inserting into the furnaces. But yeah, I hope this paintball setup kind of makes sense. I mean, it's relatively easy to understand once you know what you're looking at. Yeah, I guess now the next step is to deal with these chromatic compounds. So we can tick off the magenta paintballs from our list. This quest above here is just for black paintballs. I need up with a few of those things. If you drain the items one too many times, then you get black. Although with the way that we've got this set up, it's actually impossible since we're splitting up the paintballs right at the start of the chain here. So to process this further, ultimately we want to end up with these inductive mechanisms, which unsurprisingly is a sequenced assembly again. However, to get here, we need the radiant induction coil from radiant sheets, and this is from refined radiance. And we get this radiance from this chromatic compound we're crafting. And there's a few options we have here. Basically, we need to give this compound a light source of some sort. I'm not sure if I think torches work. The quest book mentions something about torches here. However, I think the most efficient way to do this is to obtain some beacons. And well, obtaining beacons means nether stars. And nether stars means the wither. And the wither means wither skeleton skulls, which is where little nether fail came from. I kind of overestimated those guys. But before we go back, I want to invest in a cleaver, which will start with Sever in 2, which I think is the same trait as beheading from 112. We are obviously going to need some wither skeleton skulls. I'm trying to decide what exactly the best material is for this. And I think we're going to go for a mix of cobalt, steel, which we haven't made yet. It's weird that we haven't made steel in modded Minecraft, but yeah, it's just from smelting some iron. Oh, and the pillager's still having fun in his little boat over there. So yeah, I made up some parts in our smeltery. Really should move that thing over actually. But we're going to go for a tough wood handle, a cobalt tough handle, a steel broadsword, and the cobalt large plate. This way we get the cultivated for the extra repair durability, ductile from steel which gives us extra damage, and most importantly we also get the severing trait. So with our brand new cleaver, let's go say hello to these wither skeletons again. Hopefully no more accidents like the last time. Oh nice, we got the skull first time. Well, I hope it keeps going as smoothly as that. Here's another one, let's see if we get second time lucky. Nope. Alright, we got 2 skulls, it's been about 3 minutes so far, so this was definitely a worthwhile investment, although we might be dead again. Uh-oh. You know, the nether is so much easier without all of those hellfires from Divine Journey, and there also seems to be quite a lot more wither skeletons. I don't know if that's because there's just less mobs overall. Oh, this could turn out a fairly sticky situation here. We should still be careful. Our armor isn't the best. Oh, we got a hoglin here. Oh, these things are so tanky. Oh, run, 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 run. Nope, we're not dealing with that. You know, I'm also starting to warm to this new netherrack texture as well. I'm actually quite liking this thing. What do you guys think? Do you prefer the old one? Or do you like this new netherrack texture better? Oh, and there's our third skull. Nice. That didn't take very long at all, actually, with this cleaver. So we're gonna do this wither fight like any professional, right? Up here at bedrock. Only in this pack we don't have flat bedrock, so it's a little bit more tricky to find a correct spot for this. Alright, I hope this is gonna be okay. I hope this spot's gonna be good. Here goes nothing, I guess. Okay, he appears to be in place, which is good. Few hits of his legs, and this should be an easy nether star for us. Assuming it doesn't spawn above, actually. I hope that doesn't happen. One more hit. There we go. Awesome. We got our nether star. So the recipe for the beacon is actually just default in this pack. At least I think this is default, right? This is vanilla recipe. And as for the material cost for this beacon, I don't think we have to take it up to max size. We just have to have the lightning beam appear from this thing and then throw on the chromatic compound on top. But I mean, we have pretty much infinite iron here, so we may as well get the full benefit out of the beacon and build this maximum size. So we do have to consider placement on this beacon. We've got a few more steps left to go before the sequenced assembly. We need the beacon step, and then we need a pressing step for sheets, and then a mechanical crafter for these induction coils. So I think honestly we'll expand this wall out a couple of blocks. I don't want to go too much further though. Oh, and all these silverfish, they're everywhere. So many silverfish. Okay, so I set us up our beacon. I dug straight up here. It does actually dodge this wall, so we can sort of hide the fact that there's a hole in the ceiling here. We'll incorporate it into the ceiling design at least. But yeah, just to test this works actually before we start building out any more of this. If we toss one of these chromatic compounds through the beacon, I believe it will instantly transform it. Did it disappear? I don't know where that went. Oh, it's over there. Oh, is it just going to float up there now? Wait a second, let me try that again. Oh yeah, it just like floats away. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with that somehow. Although before we flesh out any more of this end of the factory, I noticed that our main shaft wasn't spinning here in the middle from our flywheels. And there's a pretty bad reason for that actually. We are completely out of dark oak logs. And this drawer was almost full yesterday, which is not a good sign. I think this means it's time to expand our tree farm. And we haven't left ourselves a whole ton of room for this, to be honest. And I think it should be possible to add to the other side of this minecart and make this basically the center of the farm. You know what, before we build this though, let's actually make sure we can attach things to the other side of this minecart. I mean, I don't see why not, but let's just double check before, before we build the whole contraption. It looks like the answer is yes, okay. Next series is not going to be underground, that's for sure. So to get this going, we're going to need 9 more deployers. We'll make a few extra, why not? And also a whole lot of dirt here, which we're quickly running out of. I think we can trade for this though, can't we? Oh yeah, 2 silver coins for 16. It's free. But yeah, I started digging out a little area for us, and I think actually we're going to expand both ways. So I'm going to add a duplicate field that we have here, like the first one. And I think also we'll extend this rail out a couple of blocks, maybe till in line with this. And that should help with our dark oak, as I think it actually does need the extra height on this. And we can move all of the oak wood over to this field here. Okay, so we got the tree farm expanded. We have greatly increased our production of logs. However, there is a couple of extra bottlenecks I've noticed here. The first one being this hopper. This is nowhere near fast enough for this. So I think we'll remove that and extend along the belt. However, this does mean that we need to insert via this portable storage interface. So I think we'll have to move this thing up a block. And instead of using the hopper, we'll put a chute here instead. I think the chute still has some limitations on item transfer, but hopefully it should be fast enough. And I think also what we're going to do here is add an overflow system so that when we have excess oak logs, we can just burn these in our flywheels instead. So I've swapped around 2 of these drawers here. We now have a barrel in place of the dark oak saplings, which crucially comes after the oak logs. So that basically when this drawer is full, I'll probably end up taking the emerald upgrade out of this thing, since we don't need to buffer this many oak logs. But we still need to keep them here for the oak slabs in order to make kinetic mechanisms. So basically, anytime this drawer is full, then this barrel will start to fill. And in fact, we'll have to swap these out with at least brass funnels. Yeah, let's just swap out all the log drawers with brass funnels. One for faster item transfer. And this also allows us to filter this barrel. I mean, I guess it could probably be a locked drawer as well. And then we'll add an extra chute from this barrel for the regular oak logs, and somehow connect this up to this belt here, which is the input for our flywheels. I think we'll have to jumpstart our flywheels again since they ran out, so yeah, they do need manually restarted. Alright, so this is something to keep an eye on, but hopefully this will satisfy the flywheels. Okay, flywheels are back online and we are now spinning up at the end of our factory here. Let's take care of these chromatic compounds now and somehow deal with the floating items. I don't know how we're going to deal with that yet. And rain, apparently. Alright, so I've been doing some testing here with the beacon, and I think it is actually a consistent trajectory that this thing follows. So I've extended along the belt from our crafters. We'll still have to hook these up, but if we throw this on here just to test this out, it does follow the same trajectory every time. So I think we can actually set up something up there to collect the drops, and then probably drop them down into the next step. Look at the Enderman. He's having a lot of fun on that weighted ejector right there, isn't he? Okay, second test. Is this going to be the right height for us? That was way too fast. I didn't even see that thing. Did that go in the belt? It did end up on the belt. Awesome. Okay, I ended up switching out the belt with a depot instead. And from here, I think we'll split it two ways. I kind of want to do 2 mechanical presses for these sheets. So I think we can just brass tunnel here into 2 different depots. We may have to have a block on the end to stop it from spilling out the edge. And then we put our 2 mechanical presses on top. Let's just do one more test just to make sure that it is actually consistent here before we continue on with this line. Okay, hopefully it lands on this depot now. It does. Ends up on the belt, which will also need power. And routing all the power in Create is where all the bulkiness comes from, right? It just takes up so much space to get the rotations the way you want it. I mean, I guess since we're fleshing out this beacon some more... Oh, hold on, have we left enough space here? Yeah, it should clear the bottom of these stone bricks and end up underneath, that's fine. Okay, so I hooked up some more encased chain drives to get this belt moving. We'll also have to power these mechanical presses somehow. So we can't vertical gearbox here, otherwise this spins the opposite way. So I think we'll flip these around, and that way we can shaft in the middle. Extend along the encased chain drives. I didn't actually realise that you can do them opposite ways like this and they still spin, which is pretty cool. And then just vertical gearbox on top. That presses them into the sheets. And then the next step is to create these with the mechanical crafter. So we may as well have 2 since there's 2 outputs for this. And we can actually just import straight from these depots into the mechanical crafters. However, I think this will have to be brass tunnels, or brass funnels I mean. I always get the tunnels and funnels the opposite way. Yeah, we'll have to put brass funnels on the end of these. And make sure we set a filter for the radiant sheets so that it doesn't export it without it being pressed first. Or actually, is this press going to press with this funnel in the way? That's something I'm not sure about. Let's find out, I guess. And also just triple check to make sure this is consistent. Oh, I went on the other one. Of course it did. I was too quick, but yes, it did press it. Okay. That's good to know. So then from here, I guess we can just combine both of these crafters into one belt. If we raise this up 1 block, that should put it straight on the belt. And once we give these crafters here some power, we can swap this out with a gearbox actually. And that allows us to put a cog in the middle. It doesn't actually matter which way these mechanical presses spin. So yeah, this gives us our coils, which then have to go through the assembly line. Yeah, so in fact, we're almost at the end of chapter 3 here. We can pick up these coils for the quest as well. And we just have the sequenced assembly left to go, which is just 3 deployers and our precision mechanisms. Still haven't figured out how we're going to get them over here though. I think we'll probably just do it manually for now. But I do want to make sure the sequenced assembly goes horizontally here. We still need to pick up the chromatic resonator, which takes sapphires and rubies. I think we should have some of these. Although if this is similar to the screwdriver from chapter 2, there should be a market item for it. Oh, but we still have to craft the resonator itself to trade it in for the unbreakable one. Well, in any case, we can place our 3 deployers here for the sequenced assembly, and a drawer for the output. And then I guess these coils have to be inserted into the first 2 deployers here, so instead of bringing this belt down, I think instead we'll bring it up. And we'll have to split it off 2 ways, so we'll have a brass tunnel here, set to round robin, and then just 2 andesite funnels into the deployer, and the last one here will be for the magnet. We just have to give everything now power, so we can do gearbox on the end of this cog coming out of the crafter. And then I think 3 more gearboxes here. Yeah, just keeps everything nice and compact like that. And then also all of these belts as well. Okay, let's make up our chromatic resonator to get this thing running. We need 2 sapphire, 2 ruby, which I'm hoping we have. We got the ruby and we have 4 sapphire. And we may as well instantly get the unbreakable version. We have a lot of gold coins, I think. Oh yeah, the trade station's full. Let's submit those for the quest. Gives us the unbreakable version. And there's still a few things earlier in the production line for these paintballs we have to hook up. However, I think we can get our first few of these mechanisms going. So I did manage to get all the belts powered here. We need a drawer or something for input. I don't know yet how we're going to get the precision mechanisms over here. And then we'll need 1 funnel for output and 1 funnel for input. Wow, that was so quick. Inductive mechanisms, awesome. So yeah, I guess this means we've completed chapter 3 by now. But yeah, we do still have to hook up these depots. So maybe instead of the depots here, we just put belts feeding into this one. Oh, this is going to spill out everywhere. Yeah, we do a belt like this, and then same on this side. The trouble is actually powering these belts though. I think we're going to have to move the power for the crafters onto the side here. There we go. And then same on this side. Okay, crafters are all powered. I managed to fit some vertical gearboxes on the side here. Last piece of this puzzle. I mean, I guess I never actually explained how this singularity thing works and properly tested this thing. But we do have to hook up this weighted ejector. Oh, I really don't want to break this barrel. I'm just going to manually put these on for now, just to empty this thing out. But yeah, even just with a few, you can see all the paintballs here rolling across. This looks so awesome. I love this. We have items flying everywhere. It looks like our pumps below are fast enough to keep up with the waste. That's something else I was concerned about. But yeah, it seems to be keeping up alright. Oh, hold on, this system isn't going to work. I just realised that we have some contamination in the belt here. And I think it's because of this brass funnel back here. This side at the back here is open, I don't know if you can see that. And I think it's feeding onto this top belt, which is a problem. I don't know how we're going to resolve that with this little space. Aha, I think I've actually found the solution here. So I extended this assembly line out by 1 block and left a gap between these 2 deployers. We are also going to add in some buffers for these coils as well. As I noticed here that there's nothing stopping this from just spilling items into here, even if there's no space for it to go. So I mean, hopefully if we add a big enough buffer, we're not going to fill max upgraded drawers with these coils, so it's going to be just fine like this. So the crafters will output straight to the drawer, and then onto these belts, and then into the deployers. And just to be safe, we'll add a block on the end here, just so that we don't end up with any spillage from the tunnel. And we just have to worry about power now for everything. So 2 cogs here should get all the crafters powered. It's working! We have our tier 3 factory. Oh, this is so cool. We appear to be out of paintballs though. I still haven't hooked up these Quantum Entangled Singularities. So I guess I never actually explained how this singularity producer works. And truthfully, I'm still testing this, but what I'm hoping is going to happen here is the system will turn itself off once this barrel is sufficiently full. So there should only be a few more explosions, and I'm really hoping it stops. Oh man, my armor's taking a beating here. Okay, it didn't turn off. Let me troubleshoot this. Okay, we got it. I just had some settings wrong here on this stockpile switch. If we hook up the outputs again, so we get all this... Oops, not that way. So yeah, these go on to be processed just like normal. And I replaced the weighted ejector out with a belt. There's not really much reason to have a weighted ejector for this. But in short, the way this works is we have singularities now coming out of a barrel that's here. I don't think this... I'm stuck on the belt. I don't think this barrel was here before. But the plan is to do stacks at a time. Maybe not stacks, maybe half stacks at a time. Since we can drop a half stack at a time and just with 1 explosion, create all of the Quantum Entangled Singularities from that. But basically there are 3 mechanisms controlling this. The first one is a stockpile switch on this depot, which checks to make sure that there is at least a stack on this depot before it drops the ender dust. So this stockpile switch here has the redstone link on it, linked to ender dust, which is then linked to this stockpile switch. And so if you give these brass funnels a redstone signal, they will disable themselves. Oh, and it just started up again. That's exactly what we want. The barrel must have emptied itself. In fact, let's just manually turn this off. But yeah, if there is singularities on this depot, then it will drop the ender dust, which hits the pressure plate. That then activates this redstone down here. This is right below the pressure plate. into a pulse repeater, which just turns the signal into a 1-tick pulse, and then into the stone bricks, and then actually there's some red alloy wire here, and this is hooked up to the dispenser. So this will dispense and activate one piece of TNT into the obsidian, and that will trigger the explosion and create the singularities here. The other control which I just implemented there is this one with the apple. So this is reading the silica steel barrel. If this backs up for whatever reason, then this will emit a redstone signal, this time only to this brass funnel, as the ender dust here is what we're using to actually activate this system. So this way it helps prevent a situation where we have a bunch of the Quantum Entangled on the floor and nowhere for them to go. But I think it should be robust enough just to let this run on its own. And yeah, at some point it will back up because of our production of these magenta paintballs. So that's something we'll have to look out for, but yeah, with the controls in place, I think it should be fine. And I think I'm actually stuck now. But yeah, check this out. We're now up to 2.5 stacks of inductive mechanisms. And to actually use these mechanisms, we're going to need Invar, which I think is mentioned in the quest at the top here. Apparently we have to combine iron and nickel. It's a very convoluted system and set up to do that. I think we need another sequenced assembly. However, we can just trade for this, right? I feel like this is a bit cheating, but I mean, it's in the pack, right? It's part of the game, so why not make use of it? I don't know, I feel like it does take away from the experience though a bit when you can just trade for everything and you don't have to set up this automation. I mean, maybe we will set this up. It basically involves a whole ton of mechanical presses, and then you have to blast this with nickel compound, which is iron dust and nickel. So yeah, maybe we will set that up, I'm not sure yet. But for now, we're going to make use of our berries and silver coins. And this gives us a ton of Invar casing to use, which we can combine into the final quest in chapter 3. And can we get the quest complete? Oh, there's no chapter complete sound here. Oh well. Anyways, these Invar machines actually unlock some very exciting new stuff for us. I'm not sure what the pyrolyzer is. I think that's maybe a new machine in this version. But we get things like the fluid encapsulator, the induction smelter, alchemical impure, I remember those from Divine Journey, redstone furnaces, fractionating stills, pulverizers, lots and lots of cool machines to play with, which I'm sure we're going to need coming up. So yeah, looking at the overview for the pack, we are more than halfway there actually to the end. We're actually racing through this thing. I don't know how we're going to get all the building done, but at some point that will be done. Probably on another stream, to be honest. But yeah, since we upgraded the tree farm, I don't think the flywheels have stopped. I hope not anyway. I'm pretty sure those things are still, yeah, those things are still up and running. I disconnected the other 3 here just to save on some wood, and it looks like we are able to keep up with the stress units. But yeah, with that, I think this is a good point to wrap up the episode. A lot of you guys seem to actually like the wood, the oak wood that was here, so maybe we'll switch back to that. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, that is going to do us for today. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Create Above and Beyond.